What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Ghost. I'm coming to you from inside my truck. Welcome to 7 years of being in this game. This is my tell-all series of my trials and tribulations, my success, my failures, just everything all out on the table. I'm dropping this video to speak on UPS freight as an owner operator and everything that, this is when I crossed over into the owner operator realm. This is when I bought my first truck, my very first truck, and this is when I started building my fleet. So as you all know from FedEx, well, if you don't know, I was at FedEx and then I linked up with my uncle. My uncle linked me up with a guy that basically had 4 trucks over at UPS, and he was basically, we met up, we went out to eat, and he basically told me that I could run with him for 1 month. He'll teach me everything I need to know about being an owner operator, and we'll go from there. He'll show me where to go get my first truck, and my growth is really up to how much I grind. So, I'll never forget the dude, because dude was like a huge help. He kept it real with me too, and it's like when I got to UPS. Well, the first thing that is the funny part about being at UPS was I was there. Well, when I went to go get the paperwork so I could go take my drug test, I was still at FedEx. I actually was still at work. I was at work, but they ended up canceling my load. They ended up canceling my run for the week because I guess FedEx went through like a slow season in January. So I ended up, having a day off, and dude from UPS, like one of the supervisors, hit me up and was like, "Hey, I need you to come pick up this paperwork so you can go take your drug test." So I was like, all right, cool. So I go over there. Mind you, I'm in full FedEx gear, hat, shirt, just all that FedExed out. And I go up to UPS. I have my little safety vest on, and I walk inside the office, and they were like, "Oh, you came here to deliver a package?" And I remember the dude was looking at me like, "The hell?" He was like, I told him I was here to pick up the paperwork. I'm David. And he's like, "Oh, good. Nice to put a face to a name and a voice to a name and everything else." He was like, "I didn't know you worked for FedEx." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I just got off work." And then he was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Well, you could have at least left it in the car." He was like, do you understand you got on the wrong colors coming in here?" And then there's another guy that walked out from behind one of the cubicles, and he was like, "Oh, nah." He was like, "We don't like his kind." He was like, "You got to go back outside." But they ended up giving me the paperwork, and as I was leaving, he was like, "Hey, next time," I'm going to tell Top Dog G, that's my uncle, that his nephew's coming in here with the wrong colors on. So he was like, "Leave a FedEx shirt in the car next time." And he started laughing. So I went, took the drug test, and then I ended up going to their little orientation. Their orientation, I think, was like a day. Actually, like 8 hours. It was quick. So then from there, I had met up with the dude, and he basically put me on the truck with him, and we ran for 3 weeks as a team. And he taught me basically everything I needed to know, like the basics of being an owner op. How to fuel, what lanes to run, how to run, how to maintain a truck, just how to do everything, how to basically, make it when I'm out on my own. So what did I do? I had a pen and pencil. I wrote down everything, just took notes. And he was like, the best way to be successful in this industry is just figure out what lane you want, jump in it, and you'll be able to do great things with it. And I just, the 3 weeks was basically the best 3 weeks of my life, because it really gave me a chance to really break down numbers and really figure out how to really operate and run my business. So took all these notes, and then I took it back home, Then it came time to buying my first truck. He showed me where to go. We had a plug over at Dynamic Truck Sales. It was actually later on, me and the dude ended up becoming good friends because he taught me the game on the used trucks and everything else. When it comes to used trucks, the dealer, how the dealers go to the auctions and everything else. So I built a relationship like with that, and it actually helped out in the future. So from there, I bought my first truck. It was a 2006 Freightliner. It was either a Century or a Columbia. I get them both confused, but it was one of those two. It had a 60 series Detroit in it, and it was a good starter truck, real good starter truck. As a matter of fact, it'll probably be the truck that's in the clip art, the thumbnail. That was my first truck, and I mean, it basically paved the way, honestly, because I ran teams in that truck for 30 days. My first 30 days, I ran teams in it. Mind you, the truck went into the shop seemed like every week, but it was because, you know, just wear and tear of being a used truck. In your first 90 days, I learned you're gonna put the most money into the truck, and that's really what I did. So, you know, my first 30 days, I had an air leak and I had a couple electrical issues that I had to work out. But other than that, I mean, the truck, and the fan clutch had went out. But other than that, the truck ran like a champ. And then I was able to stack up enough money because I was doing about, over at UPS, running teams as an owner-operator, we were getting paid $1.36 per mile, and they had a really, really good fuel program, and it was basically, we got a really good fuel discount. So I was doing about, I would say, between $10,000 and $12,000 a week. I was making enough money to where, after all my expenses and everything else, in 30 days, I stacked up enough money to go out and buy a second truck. My second truck was a 2007 Peterbilt. It was a 387, the bubble shaped one. That was my second truck, and it had a cat in it. It was an automatic, and I had put two brothers, they were two Hispanic brothers that were driving that truck. And it used to be funny because they would like get in arguments like all the time. And they would get in arguments with each other, and but they'd be cool, you know. They would do their job, but they just get to fighting each other and be ignoring each other, and then next thing you know, they'd be cool again. Like, they had a love-hate relationship, but they worked perfectly as a team. So now I had two trucks running, and we were doing about almost 20 grand a week, between I would say between 18 and I would say 22,000 a week. Like we were making some good money. So then I got hit with CARB, and I didn't know nothing about, you know, CARB compliancy and everything else because I didn't really understand it. I still really wasn't watching YouTube videos on trucking like that, and owner operators and everything else. I didn't even know who Cass was back then. I didn't find that out until Snyder, and I started doing the lease purchase there. That was when I had met Cass. But before then, I didn't know anything about, you know, owner operators on YouTube. So then I got a letter from UPS telling me that I had to upgrade my fleet by the end of the year because of CARB compliancy. Otherwise, I had to take them off the fleet, or I had to pay for the filters, and the filters end up being all the filters were I think back then $18,000 per filter, and I was like, I'm not about to pay that. I was like, oh hell no. So then that was when, you know, I had met up with Sinister, and this was when me and Sinister, I had took him out to eat because I had met up with my homeboy over at night because he was getting ready to go over Snyder to do their choice board. So I met up with my boy, and he was just telling me hey man, I know you've been spending a lot of money and all this. He's like, why don't you just go do this lease purchase? You'll be able to make the same amount of money, if not more, and blah, 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 doing choice. You can put teams in it. You can do the same thing you're doing now, except the only difference is you get to pick your own freight. You ain't got to drive and be gone 14 days out of the month, mandatory, and then come back. So the day I met up with him to talk, and then I met Sinister too over at the night terminal, and that was when I showed off when I had that gray Range Rover, and Sinister had did a whole video with me, and I was gonna start getting on YouTube to tell my story back then. And Sinister, he really motivated me to really get out here and start my little vlog about Snyder, because that's when I got on YouTube, was to talk about this choice board. So that was me and Sinister had linked up. So, you know, I was all pumped up and motivated, because I'm like, you know what, even if I can flip these trucks, I can still stack money into my pockets. And you know, but mind you, I still got that owner-operator mentality that I gotta pay for everything. But in reality, I really didn't. And there's a huge secret to doing a lease purchase that nobody really speaks on. At least the people on YouTube don't. So, with that being said, the next video, I'm gonna get into the whole Snyder lease purchase and just everything that went on, the divorce, just all that in the next video. So, love, peace, prosperity. I hope you guys like this video, and I will holler at y'all in the next one. Deuces.